few different things we're going to talk about. This is a rare sighting of me in the office. Um, First thing, talk about custom decks. So on the very first day when we show up, we're going to knock out the old deck if there is something there, or patio, whatever. Um, if you want something new, it's easy. There is no demo. Obviously, if there is, we'll get it out of the way. We'll dispose of all the old materials. Um, we want to try to start laying the foundation as soon as possible, because that entails curing concrete, and we can't do anything unless concrete's cured. A couple different options with foundations. We can pour footers. We can set the post directly in ground, both of which will end up pouring concrete back in the holes. So, like I said, we got to get that done ASAP so we can let that cure. Once concrete's cure, we can move on to the framing, which there's a few different ways to frame a deck. It depends on if it's like second story, right off the ground, so on. Obviously, that'll change your post height. But on top of the posts, we will run a laminated beam across the entire stretch of the structure. That gives something for the joist to sit on top of rather than being inside like rim joists. Usually when we do a beam, it's triple laminated and it sits on top of the post. That way it doesn't like roll, which it can if it settles, if it's not triple laminated. Joists, when we do joists, it's either going to be 2x6s, 2x8s, or 2x10s. That really just depends on what all you're going to have on the deck. Some people want a hot tub on their deck. That's going to take a lot of structural beef. So obviously, if you're gonna put something heavy on your deck, we'll go with more sturdy materials like 2x10s for your joists. Same with handrails. A lot of people now are going to the cable rails, which they provide a better view looking out because they don't obstruct your view as much. They're a lot smaller than like spindle style handrails. And obviously, if you have small kids, we need to make sure the gaps between the handrails are a little smaller, maybe a little beefier, so they don't take a stumble. For blocking, whenever we do blocking, it's because we're going to do a picture frame around the deck. And I'm sure you've seen prior videos of me explaining picture frames. It kind of just makes everything look nice, cuts out on your staggered joints in your deck boards. Once that's the combination of those things is all of your framing. Once that's all done, we'll move on to the decking, which is the top of the deck, what you see whenever you look down. You can choose between composite material or actual wood material. Treated, just regular green treated lumber is going to be your most cheap, cost-effective route. One step above that, you go to cedar tone. It just gives you a little bit more color. And then if you want to bump it up, you can pay a little more. It is a little bit more expensive, but the Trex composite decking, it's a very good finished look. And we're how many away? One away from being Trex Pro builders. So that's pretty nifty. We already talked about picture frames and dividers. A divider is basically just a picture frame in the middle of the deck to cut out on a butt joint in a longer structure. Let's talk about railing options, handrail options. You can go wood, you can go composite, cable, metal, really just whatever you want. Obviously, like I said, a lot of people are going towards that those black cable railing. Um, they're thinner, you get a better view out. Um, they're surprisingly not as floppy as you would think. They're pretty they're pretty sound. Obviously, the most sound that you're going to get is a metal railing.